A very warm welcome to the participants and to the the speakers for today. So, welcome to the virtual fireside chat series presented by Science School of Artificial Intelligence. And the topic for today is future of media, role of generative artificial intelligence. Right. So, we have Dr. Ajit Abraham, Dean School of AI and Vice Chancellor of Sai University. And sir, over to you to formally introduce the speakers for today.
Good morning, and thank you, Nilay, for that introduction. And I would like to thank you and your team, for setting up the stage and for all the, hard work behind the scene. So it is my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Sanjeev Ratna Singh and Mr. Rudra Kasturi. Apparently, if you have heard the talk a few minutes ago, so we were all sort of employees working under the same group, but now we are in three different channels. So probably this is the first meeting after that formal union few weeks or a couple of months ago, and now we are back again together to shape up the next generation of AI education. And specifically, today we'll be talking about the impact of generative AI in the media industry. So I'm very glad that we have two uh, icons from AI and media industry intersections. And without further delay, I will quickly introduce both of them. The first is Dr. Sanjeev Ratna Singh. So he is one of the India's leading digital broadcast leaders with over 23 plus years of experience as journalist, editor, and multimedia content producer in senior positions in digital, TV, and print before moving into academia. So he was a dean of Times School of Media at Bennett University, and he has also worked previously in UPS Dehradun, and besides, he was also consulting with few other industries. Currently, he is serving as a consultant for one of India's largest media networks, Network 18. So, as a media professional, he has served as an editor. He is experienced in various assignments from digital broadcasting to internet, etc., etc. And at Times Group, he has worked with several other verticals, for example, like Nobharat Times, Maharashtra Times, Vijay Kannada, Asamai, I Am Gujarat, and many other regional languages, including Marathi, Kannada, Bengali, Gujarati, Tamil, Telugu, and Malayalam. So you can imagine, his experience, a diversified experience. And at Times Group, he has led a team of multimedia professionals across several cities and worked closely with Times journalists in 55 print editions around the country and overseas. His responsibilities included creating original content, overseeing daily digital video news bulletins, audio podcasts, weekly shows, and special group productions. He has also managed production of new audio podcast programming initiatives with universities in collaboration with universities like Harvard India Center, Columbia University, and other the content partners. He was also part of several database interactive media properties, specifically launching new teams during specific elections. For example, he was very active during the 2019 Lok Sabha elections and several union budgets, assembly elections. He has co-hosted and co-produced elections with Times, the Times of India, Special Mojo, and Digital Insights, and many on. So I guess I can talk for another 10 minutes if I keep on, telling his the professional experience. He has also worked as a consultant for NDTV and various other channels. He has authored a book from an academic perspective. He has several publications, authored a book on the online effect, which was published last year. Several work published in journals. So he's, yeah, I would say the last few years he has been active in the academic community. So, being a professor to dean, he has contributed to several academic initiatives, doing several academic workshops for working media professionals in mobile journalism, audio, video, multimedia content, etc., etc. So his PhD is from GD Goenka University. Then he has a postgraduate diploma in radio and TV journalism from Institute of Mass Communications, and BA Honors English from Hindu College, University of Delhi. So that is a short version of Dr. Sanjeev Ratna Singh. Coming to another icon, Mr. Rudra Prasad Kasturi is a founder and CEO of AI Vidyarthi. He's a AI and digital innovation leader and an advisor to several startups and unicorns. He is a highly recognized strategist and AI-driven innovator with over 2 decades of leadership experience across digital transformation, scalable growth, and various educational institute initiatives. He is a founder and CEO of AI Vidyarthi, an initiative dedicated to democratizing AI education for students from non-metro and underrepresented regions across India, teaching in native languages like Telugu and Hindi. Previously, Rudra served as Chief Strategy Officer at India Today Group, where he led AI-driven newsroom transformation, digital innovation, and new revenue strategies. His career also spans leadership roles at Times Group, Byju's, Amazon, Yahoo, Snapdeal, and Tencent, where he drove audience growth, new business models, and AI-led digital initiatives across India, APAC, and the Middle East. He is also the founder of Kasturi Trust, supporting grassroots education, health, and livelihood programs. He regularly mentors students at institutes like ITMI and Bennett, and he has been like a mentor to several startups, for example, unicorns like Tencent, Cred, Interact, and Klook, where he brings in his deep strategic insights and operational expertise. I'm very happy to inform the audience that both Dr. Sanjeev Singh and Mr. Rudra Kasturi has formally agreed to mentor the School of Artificial Intelligence at Sai University, where they will bring their own industry expertise to mentor our faculty and students, particularly aspiring for media related, like research and various other educational uh, challenges. So that is actually a quick introduction to both the panelists. And what we will do is I will, the next few minutes, I will, probably, like make a position statement about, what the media industry is all about and, how AI has been doing during the last few years and what kind of transformation we have seen. Then, like what we will do is, like I will pose some questions to our panelists and we will have more like interactive session. And towards the end, we will open the floor to the audience as well. So the audience, please note that, like probably the best way is if you can post your questions in the chat box, probably towards the end, not now because it is we have to go a long way. So towards the end, if you can post your questions in the chat box, and then we can address those questions to the panelists. All right, so I just want to give a quick introduction. I guess some of you might not be familiar with the media industry or AI or together at all. So I just want to give a quick introduction, the importance of media industry. So media industry is, something, where we see, the impact, almost, like very quickly. So we see all this, technological evolutions directly, first in the media industry, because media industry is driven by, like heavily by contents, and it is very audience centric. So where we need latest technologies and I would say, a lot of adaptation. And specifically, media industry has a lot of influence. Uh, it gathers a lot of public opinions. It influences the culture, sometimes even societal norms. Social impact, I guess all of us know, it provides information, whether it is newspaper, whether it is, like digital, whether it is TV or various other forms. So it is also another, like a methodology or a framework to educate the the public. At the same time, provides entertainment and influence masses. So when I say masses, it can go to millions or even crores. So AI has been there since last, I would say, 3 4 years, heavily getting into details, and specifically generative AI. If I look at, in a nutshell, it has influenced content creation, even the way, these media is, distributed, and even the way it is consumed. So it is not just contents, but it has started influencing how, we are distributing and consuming uh, the media effects. So I guess when I talk about contents, starting from journalism, today, we are talking about natural language generation. So we are using all these platforms for generating contents, from text to media, whether it is images, whether it is uh, video, movies, etc. Specifically, if you see sports, finance, and weather, you will see a lot of technology being used these few days in scripts and videos. So many a times, generative AI is used to recognize scenes and automatically edit those scenes, and even synchronizing voice, sometimes even other languages. So we have gone to that stage that, we can use technology to directly translate even a Korean movie to Tamil or Telugu media without much, human influence. Synthetic contents, from avatars to virtual influencers, we have seen, a lot of ongoing things. Personalization, we have seen how AI is being used for personalization. That's what I mean. Even consumption is controlled by AI. Even if you watch something in Netflix or YouTube or Spotify, you will see AI coming there recommending, why don't you hear this? Why don't you see this? Uh, Even ad targeting, depending upon, users' preferences, how the users consume, various media. So we have seen all this in a very big way. Content moderation, AI has been heavily used for filters, various type of filters and social media and platforms, and like fact checking. So when we see like a world, like with full of uh, uh, content being generated using various means, you also need to check whether something is authentic, something which has factual contents. Now AI is even playing a big role in understanding such aspects. AI is being used for advanced engagement and analytics. For example, if you know that, certain, broadcast has been viewed by this many viewers, we can predict that, like probably in the future we'll have this many viewers, and again, probably we can, have the, appropriate bandwidth, etc., etc. Analytics, AI has been highly successful for various data analytics. So of course, these things are already well established. Translation is another, big area where AI has made a lot of impact, from dubbing, so subtitling. Uh, Basically, we can target global audiences. So basically, a movie shot in Telugu today, we can actually literally, like have its impact in China, because we can literally translate that into Chinese, and probably it'll look awkward seeing Indian actors speaking Chinese, but but literally, we can do that with these. Similarly, deepfakes. AI can easily create realistic synthetic data. Sometimes you find very difficult to distinguish whether it is a real one or whether it is a real fake one. So sometimes you also get confused. How much these tools can do in terms of creating synthetic videos, images, etc. Media asset management, from indexing to archiving, so even retrieval, all these, like when you have, contents uh, like big media houses, for example, like Times of India or NDTV, all these big media houses. We also need to find ways how to manage these assets, media which we create. Sometimes we need to, index them properly so that we can also retrieve them at some point. So I would say, to summarize, I guess impact is really, like, I think beyond words. We are seeing this literally in all aspects in the media industry. The productivity and speed has increased. We are seeing virtual newsrooms, virtual newsreaders. We are seeing a lot of, I would say, more efficiency in personalization, and thereby also reaching targeted audiences in a much better way, uh, lowering production costs, whether it is like different types of whatever media industry we are talking about. And I would say it is very, like I said, it is almost difficult to summarize it in a few lines and uh, few sentences. So I guess that is my opening remarks. So I guess now what we'll do is we'll open the floor for some quick questions to both panelists, and then like we'll open the floor to the audience. So my first question is to Dr. Sanjeev. So Sanjeev, if you can tell how AI is currently being used in the media industry, and what innovations should we expect to see in the coming years, the way you see it.
Um, Firstly, sir, thank you so much for inviting me here. It's a pleasure for me to share the stage with two legends like you yourself and Rudra, sir. I have learned so much from the both of you, from the industry perspective, and from Rudra, sir, from you from the academic perspective, and Rudra, sir, from the industry perspective. So, I feel it's a feeling I cannot describe at the moment, but I'll come back to the question. Uh, Actually, currently, the media industry, sir, it's in a fix. It's in a bind. It doesn't know what to do because, um, from a promoter's perspective or a person running the organization, they definitely want to implement and integrate artificial intelligence wherever possible, from an organization's point of view. But when you look at the kind of staff or the manpower that these organizations have, that's where the problem starts. Because ultimately, you can bring any technology, but it's the implementation is left to us humans, right? So I think that human capital, which will implement and integrate these technologies, I think they need to be more sensitized to the kind of benefits that one can reap as an organization from implementing AI strategies. You already talked to a large extent about the role of AI and how it's being implemented. We've talked about the recommendation model, be it the Netflix and the YouTubes, which is personalizing content for people. Um, Even since I have a news background, in news also a lot of automation is being used because you get a lot of feeds from different agencies like AP, Reuters, PTI. Earlier, we had to put one person on the job to copy the feed, copy the text from the feed and then put it onto the website. Now, a lot of news organizations are automating that process. Um, then, of course, if you talk about multimedia, there are so many tools available now. And during my stint in Times Internet, I remember that when the senior management had a call and Rudra sir was also part of it, he really pushed for us to integrate some artificial intelligence tools to help us increase our productivity without actually putting in similar kind of man hours. So for us to be able to scale up that process without having to invest much more in manpower, instead the investment went into technology, which allowed us to scale up a lot of the content that we were creating from just simple text stories into audio and video format. So I think currently we have already seen some of the benefits of it, but in certain media sectors um, they're still wary of the technology because you can't leave everything to it, and as we all know that machine learning takes some time and it's not perfect, so you still need that manual intervention at some level. But at very basic levels, I think it is already showing results. And if I feel that if we can sensitize and bring more awareness, do more workshops for the human capital involved in the media industry, then I feel that the level of integration and implementation can be much higher.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev. So the next question is to Rudra. So tell us about this AI Vidyarthi. So what inspired you to create this AI platform, specifically targeting students, and how do you think it would shape up their educational journey?
Great, great. Thanks, and good morning, everyone. Thanks, Ajit and Sanjeev sir, for inviting me to be part of this panel. And it's very exciting, and I have a very good connection with Chennai. I have studied there, and I'm really happy to be part of this first AI digital talk coming from Chennai as well. Coming back to AI Vidyarthi, I think the thought has started. It's been like 21 years I've been building things, like one is traffic, newsrooms. There's a lot of madness we're going through. Then suddenly AI came, and we were all excited to learn about what is AI, how we can use it on a day-to-day life. Everything is going fine. And suddenly one day I met one of the colleges where I've studied, a couple of students, and I'm talking about them, about AI. Then I realized there's a lot of gap that what I speak and what they understood from my entire talk, right? Then I started getting more and deeper. It always something that bugged me, all the cool stuff is happening, like AI automation, content tech, happening largely on the metros. But what about like the place where I born, the colleges I studied here? There's nothing called AI there. They didn't even know what is called prompt engineering. And a group of 100 students, I asked, like, how many of you guys know ChatGPT? Only two people raised their hands, and they said that they use it for only for the entire homework or the lab work, right? That's what the entire answer that I got. It's very surprising to see that where we are actually developing robots and an IPL stadium where you can see that, the dog robo coming up, but then still there are people who doesn't even know, despite they see all these mediums. That's where this entire trigger happened, that we all know what is AI, and it is very easy access for us, largely because of the other tools and the language that we learn. AI is all in English. Whereas when we go to tier 3 and tier 4, there, even if you have a tools, they feel it's all coding. Like the first three feedbacks that I got when I personally interacted with the students is they felt, look, AI is equal to coding, and I don't know coding, so I'm stepping away from this. Right. Two, it's so much fancy English, I didn't understand anything. I need someone who can explain in my own language. Right. And third is that they didn't even know what are the advanced things that are happening in the world using AI. It could be someone from their village only went to US or within India, actually created startups that actually a lot of value, but they didn't know anything about it. Right. That's how I realized these gaps are so big. I think we should start something. AI Bharat is what everybody says. Then I said, like, you know what? It is good to have if you teach AI in the villages or in the towns where the access to this technology is very less. But on top of the primary layer is about in their own language. Tell them first AI doesn't need coding. Coding is what AI takes care. you should have the curiosity to build a product. Now, if the curiosity meets technology and the technology is taken care by AI, then I think you can do wonders, right? That's how I started AI Vidyarthi, and we've been talking to students where we get a lot of great ideas from them. Then we started AI Vidyarthi incubation lab as well, saying that look, it should not only teach you. If you have a great idea, come and present it. We can tell you good, it can be scalable. If not, then how do we fine tune the idea with all the mentors like you and Sanjeev sir, so that we can actually make them practically. I don't need 20 years of experience to build a company. Rather, if I have a curiosity and a creativity, I can actually start something today because that's how the technology, the way it is evolving, right? So that's how the entire AI Vidyarthi has started. And I just imagine, I mean, my good example always is like a ninth standard student, for example, comes and creates a rock star band using AI, but the entire voice is owned by them, but rest all the work created by the AI, right? Or a person who's like ninth standard or 10th standard, 8th standard wants to create the entire comic in art format and make it available. It's like in a culture plus AI as a technology with the creativity and make an animation movie around it is going to be very fascinating, right? And all can happen like now, not like 10 years or 20 years from now. That's all the AI Vidyarthi. We want to take the technology to the rural and make that happen. And there are bright minds there sitting and they have great ideas. And culture wise, also, it actually adds a lot of value. That's where we thought like, and that's how the entire AI Vidyarthi born like in a month's time after all the integration. That's how it started off.
Thank you, Rudra, for that interesting depiction. And when I first heard about AI Vidyarthi, I just thought it is my name. So I myself, I am AI Vidyarthi since 30 years. And now I'm very happy that you are taking this to rural, and I think it is very meaningful the way your aspirations and the need for the community and for the country at large, where we have a huge youth population and most of them are located rurally, and such initiatives are, I think, I think it is not. I mean, I cannot use any simple words, but these more. I mean, we need more initiatives, and and such initiatives should be encouraged, and we should scale these things up in a very big way to reach like our masses in a big way, and your expertise in media also would help in taking these initiatives to new levels. So all the best, and I'm sure that together we can do wonderful things.
Thank you. And you and Sanjeev sir support is always required here.
So I guess now my next question is to Dr. Sanjeev. It's about uh, challenges and solutions facing media companies. So what are some of the biggest challenges faced by media companies in integrating AI into their uh, routine workflows, and what do you think, from your experience, how we can overcome these challenges to some extent?
Sir, I think the biggest challenge is that AI technologies have just started coming in, as in it's a recent phenomenon, a few years old phenomenon. Media companies have invested heavily in infrastructure over the last 2 decades. Now, the kind of capex that they've already put in, they want to use the technology, but in a way in which it does not, affect their budget in a very large way. So that is the first challenge. That how do you strike a balance between that there is a new technology and you should use this technology, but how do you integrate it into your own system? And these systems have been built over time, and your entire workforce has been using those systems. They've got it's a very well-oiled machine that's using those systems. Now, to try and integrate something will create some sort of a disruption. So I think that's the biggest challenge, that how do you deal with the integration and implementation. So I mean, if you want to implement something, it needs to integrate with your current system. So I feel that that is one of the biggest challenges, and the reason why companies are a little not very gung ho about going the whole hog is simply because they've already invested so much in a particular infrastructure or technology. Now, for them to make that kind of investment again is not a very financially stable thing for them at this given point of time. So I feel that integration is perhaps the biggest challenge. The second challenge is even if you have 15-20% integration, that's great in today's time for a media company. But then you have concerns around, ethical concerns around the usage. How are we using it? Most currently, most companies are just using the technology. There are no clear do's and don'ts. It's basically left to that particular team or the team leader to decide how they want to use it. So I think at an organizational level, there needs to be a very clear policy on what are the clear do's and don'ts that we want to have. So I think that is also something that that needs to be taken care of. And then, of course, there is a lot of apprehension amongst people like me or my peers who are working in the media industry about the efficacy of these AI models. So basically, in the news business, if you have to get 10 on 10, you can't do a 9 on 10. So that if the model makes even one mistake, then that mistake can be very dear. And I think that is the biggest problem because, and Rudra sir will correct me if I'm wrong, we had a CMS system in the Times Group where he introduced, at the back end, you could actually put two headlines and check which one is doing better or not, so that then you could use the one that's doing better. But again, that required manual intervention because, so I think uh, at, at the testing level at the back end, senior editorial people are open to using technologies, but putting it straight out in the front end, I think there is a lot of apprehension around that. So that's another challenge that needs to be dealt with. For solutions, of course, I'm sure that AI Vidyarthi will also start a new vertical which will start providing solutions to media companies, and all the millions and the billions that Rudra will rake in will go towards financing all the students in rural areas. I think there is a gap between the technology and the integration, and you need a service sector to fill that gap because you can get the technology, you can have the infrastructure, but how do you use it? So it's like buying those Rafale planes. You can buy the planes, but how do you manage them? How do you run the systems? How do you service them? There is an entire technical team that is required to run it. So I feel that that is one solution that one can offer. That have something called AI champions or something within the team who work very closely with these technology companies, and they are the ones who drive the change and provide solutions on integration, etc. Um, Also, a lot of companies shy away from doing this, but you need to continuously keep upgrading the skill set of your workforce. That may require, it's a mindset thing because ultimately there is no point in hiring and firing. If you already have people who are working on systems, all they need is an upgradation. So if there is constant upgradation for the workforce from the top at the organization level, I feel that will go a long way in addressing a lot of these challenges. And then, of course, have people like you, Professor Ajit and Rudra, to go and have these interactive sessions with the industry people. I feel like there is a strong need to have a better connect between academia and industry, so that there is exchange of ideas, and those ideas need to percolate down to the lower level. And if that starts happening, then I feel the contribution of academia towards industry can be a lot higher and better if they know what is the use case, and what is the problem statement for which they can work and provide solutions.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev. So my next question is to Rudra about future prospects. So how do you foresee the role of AI in the education sector? I would say, let us say for the next 5 to 10 years, and specifically for the media and communication industry. Probably you can share your insights.
Yeah, I think the way I see it earlier, like, I mean, people read everything with the textbook saying that, look, the definition of what is a math, the definition of atom, right? We see very dry state of reading textbook and some tabs that explains the video format of it. But I think that the way, at least for the education, the way the future is going to be that having your own personal chatbot explaining the actual concept the way you like it, because it understands what Rudra actually the language in a simpler words for him to make it happen, right? That is something where I see as a future, and it becomes like an assistant or a friend who actually explain the entire concept in a better way. And it's again changes between Rudra to Sanjeev to Ajit, right? It's depends on how each person, something like Khan Academy, where it has their own AI assist, and it acts like a friend for you to solve the problem. And if there is a problem where you are not able to solve it, it actually comes back and tells you and pampers you actually in a way that, look, okay, you stuck here. Now I think this is the way to solve this problem, right? So that is something where is very, very important. And I see that as the future. Then what happens is the learning becomes interactive and creates the curiosity and creativity of the student from the day one. Then he finishes degree and then he thinks what to do next, right? And he understands and he builds his passion during the learning phase itself. I think that's what I see the future is all about. It's not about any more textbook reading, mug up and deliver in the exam hall. Rather, understand the entire concept in a better way, in reality, in imagination, and someone always constantly sitting next to you, apart from the teacher in the classroom. There's someone always pampers you on how to understand it better in a simple language, how the brain function works, for example. Now, if AI can come and help me like a cricket match, because Rudra is, passionate about cricket, let me explain in his words of cricket match, right? So now the brain is a captain, the cells are actually passing the balls, and that's a signal. Now I understand, oh, okay, this is how it works, right? So that is something where I see that is a future. I think where we will definitely move it. In some places, it's already there, I think, but that's where I see as a future from rural to metros, everybody will go after. Coming to the second question, which is media, right? So I think Sanju had a lot of valuable points in terms of the challenges and the way the solutions and all of that. But I see the future of media. There is a junction that right now we are in, Ajit, is that the technology has changed suddenly, and Gen Z, the new generation, is also coming into the world. So the format of consumption has completely changed, right? Now, earlier, it's all traditional media and the TV has now moved to Google and then mobile apps, and mobile web has become so prominent. Now, the new generation coming, the entire consumption of the content is actually moving into social media as well. Now, there's an influencer market has started off, right? I think the way I see is the avatar of AI anchor was very famous hit. Almost every media house has an AI avatar. Now today we don't talk about it because that is gone, and now everybody is talking about the fastest but authentic, but in a short form, right? Because the attention span of the user is very small now. Earlier it is always about 30 seconds. Now it has gone to 10 seconds. As quick as possible, you need to consume and give the information to them. If you are not the first, you will actually lose the visibility of it very fast, right? So now that's a challenge where, but at the same time, like Sanjay sir mentioned, like a fact checks as well is very important. Like two headlines, both should talk properly, and again, human has to intervene and talk about it later, right? So how do we make it even better? But the same speed that you follow is very, very important. Also, the challenge in the media right now is that one is implementing the technology, there's an investment that you are doing. But at the same time, the output, which is the revenue that you make from that, is also very critical and crucial. Now, earlier it is in one platform only. Google and Meta takes up the most of the revenue. Now it has spread across. You need to understand where we need to integrate these platforms like AI to give the content to generate more viewership that actually generates more revenue to you. And these are some areas where I think a lot of media companies still facing or in the process of making it happen. I think down the line 5 years, because of too much of AI in the world, too much of AI in the internet, the authenticity becomes a biggest thing where people really want to know what is real and what is fake. I think most of the media companies should invest a lot on their own apps, which was never the case before. Now, if you are a brand, you need to build your own app because app gets value, and that's where the loyal users will come to you. Like this is the tradition we generally look at. If an earthquake comes, people don't search for earthquake. People search for earthquake and the brand name Times of India because they want to know the trusted brand telling them is it earthquake or not. The future of searches largely going to be in this format because there's so much of content generated by AI. We don't know what is real and what is fake, and it is very easy. There are so many investments going on to identify fake news or the what is right and wrong, but still that authenticity carries a lot of value for us because I don't trust anymore the WhatsApp forwardings. I don't trust any gossip conversations anymore because I really want to know that is that what Times of India or NDTV has mentioned or not, right? So I really, because I want to make sure my statement is real. I don't want to be caught up with this entire fake news conversation. Now, that is something where largely the media company is going to invest. And then because Gen Z is coming up, the social platforms are very, very critical. The influencing market slash Instagram slash Snapchat is where the short attention span of 10 seconds, but giving the idea of content in a very different way for them. I think that is where the entire media will move on. And just to give you an example, there are two students of mine who passed out like last year, has created an app about pets, and they just came to me saying, "Okay, what should we do?" I gave them a project called Pets, where they created everything human. Like Sanju sir mentioned, the input is human, the output is AI driven, and it is less than a month. They already has reached about 100K, like 1 lakh reach just by creating the creativity content. Right now, that's where the entire system is sitting there. That's where the social media is sitting there. Right now, that is something where I feel is the future for most of them. If you are not there, you are not there actually. Earlier, we used to say that if you are not digital, you are not in digital. Now, if you are not in Google, you are not in Google. Now, if you are not in social media, you are not there actually in the digital business. And AI is just a layer in all of them, but you need to understand where your audience are actually sitting and what format, what type of content they're actually consuming. If you don't understand that, then you're going to lose a bigger way of the picture.
Thank you, Rudra. So the next question is for talk about the technological trends, since we have some, I guess, I'm not really sure about the majority of the attendees. So we have, I would say, a ample percentage from the student community. So I guess sharing your experiences, I would say, if you can share, some of the most important emerging technologies in media that a student should, keep a watch on, so that, that could help uh, the students' future academic journey in the media industry.
So is that for me?
Yes, that's for you.
So I think that first thing is to be open to any kind of technology. I think it's more of a mindset thing than anything else because, at least the way we were taught and the kind of tools we have used, technology has disrupted all of that. And even, when we were teaching students, we tried to see how we can integrate some AI tools in their content creation process. So for the final year students, we asked them to create, certain video content and said, okay, now you're going to create two sets of video content. One, you create the way you've been creating, and in one, you use some of the AI tools that you can, and see how much time it saves you. So I think that is a start from where students should start coming in. That see how these tools can make your life easier. I mean, you should not be totally dependent on them, but you use them to save your time. No, it's like um, you've got to go somewhere which is 10 kilometers away and there's a traffic jam. So are you going to take your car? You're going to take the metro. It's like that. So if taking a metro makes your job easier, you take it. So these AI tools are like that. They'll just help you create your content faster. You need to monitor that and see how much it's helping you. So once you start doing that, then suddenly you realize the beauty of using these tools. So let's say, definitely I would say that they should be trying tools like Midjourney, definitely where you can create images and pictures and video. So tools like that will come in very handy for them. Also, subscription-based models like I'm sure Rudra sir will add to it, like Sora, etc., which have come in which you can create videos. A friend of mine recently made a 3-minute video in which he did not hire somebody to shoot the video. He did not hire anybody to edit the video. He did not hire anybody to do the voiceover for the video. He just bought subscription of two tools and he used them to create a 3-minute video. So that's where we are heading. And eventually, the sooner students learn this, I mean, ultimately, it's a choice that they make. No, this is something I want to create on my own. Fine, do that. But students should be in a position where they can decide whether they want to use a particular tool or they want to do it themselves. So they should have that much of knowledge for them to be able to do that. So there are a lot of tools in the market, but definitely one for images, audio, and video. So these three things have come in there, and then of course there's AR, VR, and MR which has come in, but those are slightly technical, and you need to have a certain grounding in some other subjects required. But I think generally, you can try that, and as Rudra sir was saying, one of the best options to just play with this kind of technology is to create your own chatbot and see the fun that you can do with it. I created my own chatbot about 2-3 weeks ago. I was just testing on one of these things, and it's so cool. I mean, it just makes your life so easy. So I would say that first is the mindset, and second is experimentation with a few tools regarding audio, video, and text.
Yeah, I would like to add a couple of things. Sorry, I got disconnected. I think the usage of the tools is already here. Like Sanju mentioned, that Midjourney, if it is images, right? And if you want to talk about voice, then NLL Labs is one of the best thing. And Stable Diffusion, Leonardo, Pictoria, there's a many tools, right? So I think the fundamental, like Sanju mentioned, chatbot tool, I myself knows the technology, but never hands-on experienced. One day I was like, look, I need to create a chatbot on my own website. Around like 2 in the morning, I asked ChatGPT, teach me coding. By 7, my chatbot is live, right? It's just about, I need it, I will do it, right? And that's when I realized that it is so simple. It's just that the ask is important. Then there is a number of tools that has been developed. Like I was working with an 8th grad student about creating a music of their own. One is vocal of their own voice, and one give a script and build a song around it, right? Now, that's a very powerful way of creating your own label, and I can send it to T-Series tomorrow to monetize, right? So now I'm just giving these kind of examples to students. They were very fascinated and passionate about it. So the technology comes here, depends on the usage of all the folds of format, text, video, podcast, music, or a coding or a chatbot or a chat support tomorrow or auto dialer. I was just talking to one of, is not even a graduate yet in the US. He actually raising funds for his company only to tell what tools to use for what AI, right? Now imagine the kind of diversity of the tools that they have, and he's raising about $1 million to just build a company like that. Now, there are different thoughts that everybody goes through. It's all about, if it is a news media, it is very straightforward. There's a translators, which Google, Amazon, even Microsoft does. If it's a film video, I'm not sure how many of you know everything everywhere all at once for, like, they have used this entire Oscar winning movie. I'm not sure how many of you know everything everywhere all at once. There's a VFX runway. ML is the one that the company has given the VFX for this. Now, if it is a Hollywood movie making, then there is a one more technology that we can use it. If it's a social media, then Lumify is one I will actually use a lot to convert every blog post into, video, audio format and all of that. So all we have to do is, like, how do we make it, like Sanjay sir mentioned before, I'm just joining the call, what saves you a lot of time, increases your creativity and output, and make that content that's sticky with the user as well. And on top of all of this, be very responsible as well. Like, don't create anything out of box, just be very responsible AI. I mean, be ethical and do the right things only. But understand what works better where and how do we do that. I think the technology is always there at the back end that supports you. It's just that idea that's important for us to start with.
Great, great. Thank you, Rudra, for adding those comments. And I guess I can summarize, I guess both of you were telling that it is up to the students to make the right prompts when needed and and find what they want. But from what I experienced many times is that, like the new generation, I would say it's very difficult to predict. I think even AI cannot predict how they would make these prompts for navigating their career pathways. And I guess that's again a challenge. They have a lot of opportunities, but just that, finding the right moment to prompt. Basically, I think they should prompt themselves and then prompt the system what is the best way, what is the best way to navigate forward. So moving forward, again, this is more towards student-centric. This is to Rudra. So what advice would you give to students who are interested in developing their own tools or platforms for their future, I would say career or related to their work? What is your advice?
I think I've been talking a lot of students lately, and everybody comes and says, I know this AI, I know that AI, I've done this course, that certification. All I tell them is that, where is your digital profile that showcases the work that you have done, whether it is a Instagram project, whether it is an audio project, showcase your project is the first thing that you should look at it. Of 100, I mean, Gartner survey is this: 100 people said, out of 100 people, 85% of them said, I know AI, but only 3% of that 85% said that what they actually done using AI. There's a lot of gap of knowing and implementing it. That is one of the part of AI Vidyarthi as well. Like, you know it, but do it is now the next step, right? For students, I would always recommend, you don't need 21 experience to become something else in the industry today. If you have an idea, do it today and make it that as a digital profile. I'm just talking to one of the Gen Z. Do you have a LinkedIn? The Gen Z told me that I have my Insta profile. That is my digital identity. That actually hits me a lot. Right now, we still sit at the LinkedIn, but the entire generation is sitting on the digital as a digital profile in the social media. My advice to most of the students is, if you have an idea, start using AI today and make a project out of it. And I can share some of the case studies of my students doing it to Ajit sir for you to distribute to the team as well. There was 3-4 ideas. One of the brand that we are launching is 21 and Confused, where most of the people want to do it, but they don't know how to do it. For that, what I'm doing is I'm creating small set of projects called experiments, and we are showcasing it in the case studies to the industry. Look, these kids are still studying, but they have done this project, and this is the value out of it. In an experimental mode, and where we used AI, where we used human also, we are trying to talk about in the case study. That actually helps us. During this process, none of the students know actually about AI, but during this process, they became an expert in a way that they know how to do video editing, they know how to do voice modulation, and also translation that into multiple languages. Now the entire experience get them because they have a project idea to deliver an output, but they don't know how to use it. So they've been the journey with me for the last 3 months. Now, my advice to all the students is like, don't wait for a course or don't wait for something to happen. If you have an idea, start exploring it. And ChatGPT or DeepSeek are the best go-to destinations for you to understand, to chat, to debate, to fight. Once you have a better idea, then identify the tools that are that also ChatGPT only tells you. You don't have to even spend too much time to ask someone by a call, "Okay, do you know what are the famous tools that you use?" Rather, ask GPT itself, these are the 5 things that what are the best tools that I can use it for, right? And then try focus on that. I think that's where the future is. The future is all about, for me, it is like you have a toughest subject and you're not getting the tough subject. Let's say you're poor in math or biology. Use AI, create a video from there, and you start learning from there. During this process, you'll become an expert in the subject. Tomorrow, you never want to be a doctor, but you will become a doctor because of the curiosity that you brings in, right? That's what I feel. And that's how students are actually telling me this feedback to me as well. Right? This is the toughest subject for me, Rudra. But during the process of learning, I became an expert now, where I can actually start taking classes for the students as well. Now, that's a value that you bring in if you do it right. I mean, that's my advice. Don't waste time. Time is currency, not anything else. Please start using your time. And we are in a competitive world. And fifth standard to anybody can use AI these days. So be very in the company, be very smart, creative, and build your own identity there.
Thank you, Rudra, for those inputs. I guess we are almost at the fag end of our session. So now let us take some questions from the audience. So there is a question from M. Deepa Mohan Kumar. So the question is, does AI have adverse impact on reading, thinking, analysis, and understanding concepts? C, spoon feeding everything, how it will increase the creativity and thought process. So, Rudra, if you want to answer short and sharp, we don't have much time, so if you can answer.
I don't think so. It has any adverse impact because the answer is very simple. Think AI is like a bicycle. You need to still pedal. Only AI takes you to the fastest. The input is yours only still. So there's nothing wrong in that. And nothing going to impact you as well. My simple short answer.
A question from an anonymous attendee: can generative AI help enhance cultural diversity in global media, or does it risk standardizing content across regions? I think probably the author is referring to, we are talking about, dubbing media in various languages. So I think whether it will, create issues across, when we do that, will it create some problems at global level, regional level, etc., dubbing same things or
So
translate.
that, sir, for that there will always be, uh, some issues will always remain till that entire machine learning process is complete, because unless it's got all that data, so therefore to do something like that on a grand scale will require manual intervention. And coming back to the previous question and the answer that Rudra sir gave, that is why you need to read and to use your own faculties so that you can take the final call. So, it's like a car. The car will, you press the accelerator, it'll move. But you've got to be on the steering wheel, right? You've got to move it left, right, wherever you want to go. So, similarly, in this case, again, it will require manual intervention if it's done at that large scale.
Probably this question is for Dr. Sanjeev directly. So, question is, does AI is killing the media industry?
It's not. I think it's a great friend for the media industry, and in the long run, we will see the benefits. When something new comes, there is always there are always hiccups, and people are just trying to figure out how to deal with it. But I feel in the long run, at least I can speak for myself, that I feel that there is a great dependable friend I have when it comes to artificial intelligence, which allows me the freedom to be able to focus on more concrete things and does the basic work for me. So in that sense, I feel that it will always be an enabler for us, but you cannot rely on it solely. Use it to do your basic things, but the ultimate decision has to be taken by the human.
At least I can add one thing. I've been working, journalists are my good friends, right? And without them, I'm not there today. That's what I always tell. Initially, when the day AI launched, everybody's worried. And the moment they realize the power of AI, now journalists ask us to build features. Like, Rudra, I need this feature because it is taking a lot of my time, because I want to do my spend on something else. And the reporters who are actually on the ground are very happy the way we build the technology for them to seamlessly publish their content, which initially they used to collect, type, send it, proofread it, and take it live. Now they're very happy. From the phone, everything happens instantly, right? And they put one line. AI helps them to make the summarizing the entire article beautifully the way they want to speak. And because it's a personalization, I can talk like what Rudra wants. Like AI can speak what Sanjeev wants, like Ajit wants, right? That can you can personalize it. Now, the moment they realize that, the moment we build it personalization in the engine, they're very happy, right? So it's not, it actually amplifies you to run and be a superstar in the industry than thinking that, oh no, it's going to take away my job. It is not. If you don't learn AI, someone who is learning AI will take a job. That's for sure.
Yes, absolutely right, sir.
So I think there's probably we'll take one more last question. So this is, I think, about deepfakes. With the rise of AI generated deepfakes and synthetic media, where should we draw the ethical line?
So I think, there is a lot of legislation which is on the way, because, it's the technology is such that it keeps changing with time and keeps upgrading. So we don't know where to draw a line between fueling creativity and killing creativity. So I think it's a very gray area, and it's a very valid question as to where do we draw the line, because what AI does is that it gives us the power to scale up things, right? So if somebody is using deepfake, it can be scaled up very easily, and that is a challenge. But I think at this point of time, the discussion is more around where to draw the line, because there are some do's and don'ts, and as Rudra sir said, that there's already a lot of disinformation uh, awareness campaigns that are done by different companies. So I think we need to have more of those campaigns to empower, the users to know what is right and wrong. And eventually, at some stage, we will need some kind of legislation to rein in this kind of, motivated content that comes on these platforms.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess we are now at the end of our time. So I guess more questions we can probably, like take it offline or through emails.
Yeah, this is one interesting question, sir. I want to answer. Can AI be creative like human artist? Not 100%, but in the long run, maybe yes. But still, it needs human. The human angle is always important. Don't think that without human, what will the code will do? Nobody knows. Until you ask, I need an app, it will not build an app. Until you ask, I need a gallery of arts, it will not. It's all about starts with you, and then it makes it easy. Right. So I just thought like, it's a very interesting question about artists, which we
Yeah,
never
yeah,
touched.
definitely. Yes, yes. So I want to take this opportunity to thank my panelist, Dr. Sanjeev Singh, who has taken his valuable time from an important conference, and Mr. Rudra Kasturi on a weekend, spending time with all of us. I want to thank both of you for your valuable time. And I'm sure that you will have more such interactions in the future. And I once again thank all the attendees for joining us. And I'm sure that we will have more uh, interactions, not only media, but various other aspects. I would say various other professional pathways from legal tech to healthcare. So we are going to address all these pathways in the coming days and weeks. Once again, thank you so much and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rudra sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.